This is Golf with Jay Delsing. A two-time All-American at UCLA. Competed in nearly 700 PGA Tour events, 7 professional wins to his credit. Over 30 years of professional golf experience. A member of the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame and the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame. This is Golf with Jay Delsing.
This is Golf with Jay Delsing, and with Jay Delsing, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Great to have you with us once again. The next 2 hours dedicated to the great game of golf. A sport that, Jay, frustrates me, and clearly I can't hit the ball straight. But you know what? Sometimes I don't even see you hit it straight, so always good to see you, and good morning to you.
Listen, good morning, Danny, and if you're a golfer, you're in that club. I don't care who you are. You just don't. It just doesn't go your way all the time. So, yeah, we have a lot to commiserate about. I mean,
ton of news.
We got a lot of stuff to talk about this show. Can't wait.
So last weekend was the kickoff to the season. We'll get to that in just a moment. But we always have different walks of life come in studio and visit with us from different sports and find out about their love of golf. And we're going to find that out with Barret Jackman, the former Blues defenseman, will join us.
Jax is just a terrific guy. You know, he grew up in the BC, the British Columbia area, and now calls St. Louis home, married a St. Louis girl. He's got his children here. When I can remember the very first game I watched him play as a St. Louis Blues defenseman, and I had the great fortune of going in the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame class with Jackson, just a super quality guy, and having him here in St. Louis is, our benefit.
It's amazing, the alumni that stay here in St. Louis and are coaching not only their own kids, but other families' kids. Yep. And these guys are turning out to be NHL players. And as it relates to golf, I guess, Jay, you would find that maybe in Florida, Texas, California, Arizona, where there's those warm weather states, and some of the guys on the PGA Tour, they decide to stay there, and they're coaching their kids, and they can play year-round, and probably seeing a little bit of what's happening in St. Louis with hockey, but you get that in golf too.
Yeah, no question about it. And I mean, the guys that are crazy serious about golf, which, as we've seen, if you've got your kids, folks, playing 12 months a year and they're only 10 years old, you're not helping them. I mean, you're just not helping them. And I know you're not going to stop just because I'm telling you that, but the great Jack Nicklaus said that. Tom Watson said that. Curtis Strange said that. It's like, let your kids play all sorts of different sports. But, you don't have the thing that's more challenging too about golf is that you don't have the team concept per se, Danny. So you don't go, it's not like you followed a certain team for so many years and then your son or daughter grows up and goes, oh man, I can't wait to be a Canadian. You know what I mean? You're like, wait a minute, what, it just doesn't work that way. So, but it's interesting. The folks at Elevate, and they're always thinking out of the box. They are starting to think and create a select golf league. And I think it's super cool because as a youngster, your daughters play, your sons play, whatever. Having that team concept, Danny, just takes a little bit of that anxiety and the edge off of it, don't you think, for getting your younger guys involved in the game?
I love what Adam Betts is doing with youth golf.
Yep.
And
he
yep. sets same concept to an extent, but setting up kids to play on a team format, and it does take away from that anxiety. I always hear you say it, scorecard, that final number, it doesn't lie. Yep. And it's right on you. Yep. So you're the individual, you're against the course, so to speak, and that number doesn't lie.
No, and Danny, when you're thinking about younger kids, you don't want them to be freaked out about their score. You don't want them to be freaked out that they can't hit the ball because they're beginners. But when you can kind of have someone to commiserate with, it just makes the experience so much better. So, the PGA Junior League is just doing a phenomenal job. Allie Wells and the whole Gateway team in this section, they have just absolutely killed it. And I know that John Surrey over in Edwardsville he's got a nationally acclaimed, junior golf league. Adam's got wow. I mean, what's happening at Family Golf and Learning Center for the Junior League, Danny, is multiplying kids every year. It's like a factory down there. But what Elevate's doing is that they're going to have like an Elevate team, and they're going to have, I think, 4 or 5 divisions, and they'll have like a platinum division. You'll be a handicap from 8 and below, and then, and just all the way down to very beginner. So here's an opportunity for your young son or daughter, to get over there and to find some like-minded kids and hang out and get them involved in the game. It's all just really super cool.
It was just a weekend ago. This was super cool, depending on how you want to look at it. But the Sentry in Hawaii, Hideki Matsuyama, wins the season opener with a record-setting 35 under par. Now, he had rounds of 8 under, 11 under, again 8 under, which was a week ago today. Jay, he had 33 birdies, 2 eagles for the week. It was an incredible, incredible week, 35 under for Hideki Matsuyama.
Danny, one of the first things, first of all, it's almost getting to be like video game golf, watching these guys on certain golf courses that aren't long and aren't demanding off the tee and don't require a lot. They didn't get a whole lot of heavy wind, so that wasn't a factor last week. But the first thing I read about Hideki was he's starting the year with a new putter, and it's always, there's always that you get a little extra time and you start fooling around, and the manufacturer send you a bunch of toys, and boy, whatever he did. He also started with a new golf ball, didn't he? He started playing with a new golf ball, Danny?
He did. He started that this week, and it was a Srixon 2-star golf ball. Hideki used it, and that's going to start flying off the shelves once you start to seeing a pro put up 35 under. Other players are going to say, not necessarily the pros, they're tied into their own guys, but the amateur that's out there, they're going to start putting that on the shelves, and all of a sudden they're going to say, if he's doing this, I can do that too.
Right. Srixon has never been known as a ball company. I mean, they do make a ball. It's a fine ball, but I'm even curious now. I'm like, what I've hit their ball before, and I was like, it's a nice ball, but I'm going to stick with what I got. And I'm wondering now, I mean, did they come up with something that's, got some crazy characteristic that makes it special? Danny, it's like, you start thinking about the rollback and the ball rolling back and all of these things, and you watch somebody shoot 35 under par for 72 holes. And so we break that further down, and we look at Colin Morikawa, who barely finishes out of the top 5 over there. He finished at 32 under par.
Incredible.
And then you get Sanjay M, finished at 29 under par. It's like, wait a minute, guys. What are they putting in the Kool-Aid over there?
So is it a good thing, you think, for golf to be 35 under, or do you need to have the scores single digits? And do people say because of the way that they're hitting the ball, the rollback needs to be greater than what they're talking about here in a couple of years? I was curious from your perspective, having played 30 years on the PGA Tour, if you thought that was a good thing.
Well, it's interesting, Danny. When you take what our 5-iron, how far our average 5-irons used to go back in the day, they would average right around 200 yards. Okay, and so if you multiply that times 36, you get your yardage of the golf course that we would play somewhere around 7,000, 7,100 yards long. And the scores related to how long the golf course was. Well, these guys now are hitting they're adding 20% to that, Danny, and more. Some of them are hitting them more than 240 yards long. So if you just do the math that way, we're looking at 7,800 yard golf courses just to get them back to play in the same sort of relation that we played in. And they're not doing that.
Right.
I mean, some places can't even sniff doing it, Danny, because there's not enough room. And so, boy, I mean, it just makes you wonder. You sit there and think about some of the great old venues around the country, and you're like, well, they're never going to be able to make, Riviera. And God bless Riviera. It's under siege with these fires out in Southern California.
Yeah.
We got to hope that everything's okay. But, they're never going to, there's no land, Danny. It's L.A. They're never going to be able to make that thing play that long. So what are we going to be able to do? Because the fear here, Danny, is that you can't stop the players getting better. You can't stop them getting stronger. You can't stop them getting faster. That's just going to happen. But the fear is, we'd kind of like to be able to go back to Pebble Beach, D, and compare what, this young man shoots in 2030 to what, Tiger shot in 2000.
I always equate it to baseball, 60 feet, 6 inches.
Right.
That hasn't changed.
Right.
And it will not change. And you go back to Babe Ruth.
Yep.
You go back to, some of the great power hitters ever. And I always equate it to power because that's what we look at. Now, the fences may be a little bit different, but 60 feet, 6 inches, that's never changed.
No, it's never changed. Now, they did lower the mound one time, but that's because of Gibson's phenomenal 1.12.
And Denny McClain. People forgot Denny McClain was also part of the year of the pitcher. Yeah.
Ridiculous years. But so to that effect and that point, Danny, I don't know. Like initially when this ball rolled back, I'm like, I didn't mind the rollback for the pros. I hated it for the amateurs. But you remember what Mike Wan said when we had him on the show last month? He's like, Jay, the manufacturers were adamant. We don't want this thing rolled back. We don't want two different balls. So, man, I don't know, man. Danny, you think of this. If we fast forward the PGA Tour 10 years from now, guys will be hitting it 400 yards long if there's nothing.
They're going to have a problem, Jay.
I know.
And that's what I'm saying. I think they need to look at this past weekend and say, we got a serious issue, and we need to reevaluate what we're doing with the rollback of the ball. I wish, and this is selfishly speaking, and I don't know if you agree with this, I would not touch the golf ball for an amateur. I would keep it
totally
the way it
agree.
is.
No, I wouldn't
for the
either.
pros, you're going to have to do something.
Well, you're going to have to make some sort of line of demarcation, Danny, right? Where you're going to have to say, all right, your D1 colleges are all playing this ball too.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Or something to that effect, because there's got to be a line somewhere. You're going to have to say a major, if you're playing in the U.S. Amateur, if you're playing in the British Amateur, if you're playing in, those top amateur events and you're an elite amateur player, then you're going to have to deal with this rollback. I really think we're going to have to go back to the drawing board, because what's going to get implemented, Danny, in 28?
Believe so.
It's not going to be enough.
No, I agree.
These guys it'll be a blip. They won't even flinch.
My man over there is a stickler for the rules. And at the Century, there was...
Can I interrupt you real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I got to tell people, I've told them this before.
Go.
You're going to love this, though. Oh, I don't know if you're going to love it or not, but I'm going to do it anyway. It's my show. Here we go. I played with, how many amateurs would you say I played with in my life? 5,000, 10,000, thousands of amateurs. I've never played with an amateur golfer ever that plays more by the rules than you.
Oh, stop.
Oh, I'm not... You won't pick up. I will pick the putt up. You're like, I could miss this. I'm like, pick it up. We don't care.
That's because I've already paid you so much money, and you feel bad about it. That's why I say just pick it up, D.
Pick it up. Let's go, man.
I appreciate that, though.
You do play by the rules. You're the person that says you screw something up, and the first thing you do is go, what's the right thing to do here?
Yeah, I do.
Nobody does that, Danny. They're like, I'm dropping it over here, and I don't care.
Well, I want to have somewhat of a true handicap.
Yeah, I know.
And that's what I wish
it's
more
unusual.
Amateurs did that, too. You have a good round, you don't turn it in. You have the bad round, you turn it in.
Somehow it gets turned in. Somehow you keep playing well, and your handicap doesn't go down.
So my man over there is a stickler for the rules. Cam Davis, Will Zalatoris hit each other's golf balls, and it was a 2-stroke penalty. Now, there's some rules in golf that are crazy, and you say, man, that's taking it too far.
Yep.
But this one's not. You can't do that.
No, you can't do that. You got to play. And Danny, it costs them so many hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Well, I think one was $500,000.
Yeah, I mean, it's just insane. And it's really careless, especially you're at a 2-ball. There's only 2 balls going. I mean, it's easy to mix them up, but you also have, this is interesting, D, you also have a little bit of caddy responsibility in this too, because your caddy, 99.9% of the time, Danny, your caddy is getting to your ball before you. Now, ultimately, I'm driving this ship. So this falls on my watch. I need to make sure that the ball I'm playing is my ball. But if your caddy goes to the wrong ball and gives you the yardage and you don't catch it, there's a discussion to be had there, because he's not paying attention either. But you've got to play. You've got to do it. It reminds me of a story, Danny. I'm playing in the qualifying school tournament. I just got out of college, and it's the 4th round. In a preliminary one to get you to the 6th rounder, there were 2 stages. No, there were actually 3 stages back then. This was in the very first stage. Last round, I was down in Temecula, California, playing at a Jack Nicklaus course called Bear Creek. And on the 5th hole, I hit my drive left I'm over this. You can tell.
Yeah, obviously.
Right? Hit my drive left, but not way left. It was just in the left rough, and I'm playing a Titleist 3, and I remember looking down at my ball and going, Titleist 3, I see it in the rough. I hit it on the green. I walk up there. I mark my ball, and I go, this is not my Titleist 3. On the other side of the ball that was facing down were some weird marks, and I'm like, wait a second. And so I went to my bag thinking, did I just screw this up? This is my ball, and I'm like, it's not my ball.
Interesting, yeah.
So I look at the guys I'm playing with, and they're like, you what? And I'm like, oh, man, dude, my heart sunk. So I got my caddy, and off we walk back, and there we go. Probably 10 yards, from where I was my Titleist 3. And I'm like, what are the odds of having another Titleist 3 in the left rough today?
And the penalty was?
2 strokes. I wound up making a triple bogey, and I wound up missing that by 1 stroke.
A reminder that Barret Jackman is coming up. We're coming to you from the Car Shield Studios, as always presented by Daugherty Business Solutions. I'll wrap up this segment today, wrapping up the Sony Open in Hawaii. First full field event of 2025. So you got 144 players playing in Hawaii, and it's great to see the gang back together. And this weekend, you got a look at some of the top golfers in the world.
I love it, too, Danny. This is interesting, too, because Waialae, where they're playing this week, is almost the antithesis of what the Plantation Golf Course is at Kapalua. Waialae is tight. It's got little bitty dog legs, Danny. It's got Kapalua had massively 50, 60 wide yard fairways. Kapalua and the Plantation course is it's a resort sort of golf course. So it's wide open off the tee, a lot of run-ups to the greens and things like that. Waialae is going to be different, but Waialae is also a par 70, Danny. So you're going to be looking at sub-6, the 60s, 65, 63s, 60. Who knows? Someone doesn't go ahead and turn around and break, 60 again. But this is a golf course that is a little more depending on how much wind they get, which is dependent in Hawaii all the time. I'm assuming that they're going to have the common Bermuda rough up to probably 3 inches, which makes it challenging. But it's more of a placement course than just stand up there and bombs away. There's not a lot of room. There's plenty of holes, Danny, that are less than driver because of the dog legs, and they have these massive banyan trees out there, so you got to kind of play around those trees. The 15th hole and the 16th hole in particular, with the way these guys play it today, there's no room for driver, and so hell, one of them's got some condos and a kind of a high-rise condominium complex, number 16 to the left. So you just got to see some placements. You got to see guys that putt well on Bermuda greens do well over there. So it's going to be totally different.
Our tip of the cap is brought to you by
a Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood, and I've been all over my boys over there. They see my number come up, Danny, like, don't answer it. It's Delsing.
You've been busy over there.
Oh, my gosh. I get my tires. Joe's had our car fixed, but Colin Burnt is our guy. 314-966-0303. Call them today. They'll treat you like family.
And we're tipping our cap. You were busy this past week with the Gateway section here.
Yeah, and Allie Wells, Gideon Smith up in Quincy is the president. Our dear friend Adam Betts is the vice president. We've got Andy Crow from the GM out at St. Albans. He is the secretary. And, Danny, because of what we know from Nathan Carnes and watching him go through the ranks of the C-suite levels of the national level, now we kind of get an idea of what's going on here locally. So we have our secretary. We've got Adam Betts, who's all wrapped up into the financial side of our section. The secretary is dealing with membership stuff, and then Gideon is kind of the face of the section. And they were, I don't know if it was kindness or stupidity, but they asked me to be on the board.
That's great.
And I'm on the board, and it's you know what, Danny, I said to them in total sincerity, because we joke a lot on this show, but my entire life playing golf, some man or woman from the Gateway section was running these things for me. And I didn't have a damn clue, and I didn't do one thing for them, and now's my time to get back. So I feel good about it. I hope I can bring something to the table. I don't know what it is.
And that's the tip of the cap.
Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood, baby. 314-966-0303. Call them today.
Tiger has been in the news this week. We'll talk about that coming up. Barret Jackman is coming up. Again, we're coming to you from the Car Shield Studios. presented by Daugherty Business Solutions, and this is Golf with Jay Delsing.
You've heard me talking about the APT this year, but I want to help break down what this tour is all about. Firstly, it's the Amateurs Players Tour. I was lucky and privileged to have played golf on the PGA Tour, golf's highest level, so I know what it's like to have a real strong and fair competition. For amateur golf, this is absolutely the closest thing to PGA Tour style golf in terms of fairness of handicaps and the competition. Secondly, APT is the largest amateur tour in the country. In just over 6 years, Matt Minder and his team have over 7,000 members with over 44 local chapters spread across the country. The Amateur Players Tour runs over 800 tournaments a year. 800! That number alone tells you that they are doing something right. They play some premium golf courses around the country like Paynes Valley, Kiowa Island Ocean Course, and Torrey Pines South, and many more. Go to amateurplayerstour.com and find out for yourself. That's amateurplayerstour.com.
Hi, this is Bob Costas, and you're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing.
Daugherty Business Solutions has been enhancing the business of our customers for the last 37 years. How do we do it? Through our expertise in technology, better use of data and analytics, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. We roll up our sleeves and collaborate. We build applications and effectively communicate with our partner clients to bring their goals and objectives to the finish line. Our award-winning Access Point program is a community game changer. With nearly 100 students in the program, mostly young African-American females are making between $55,000 and $60,000 per year right out of high school. That's right, $55,000 to $60,000 a year right after high school graduation. That's when they begin their training. CEO Ron Daugherty believes the talent is equally distributed, but access to that opportunity is not. So here's Access Point, providing more and more opportunity for those in and around our community. It's Daugherty Business Solutions.
Hi, this is Peter Jacobson, and you're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing.
Are you driving an out-of-warranty car? It's only a matter of time before your out-of-warranty vehicle is in the shop costing you thousands of dollars. Auto repair costs are up nearly 20% from last year, which is 4 times the rate of inflation. If an unexpected breakdown happened today, would you be ready for that? Well, now you can be with a plan through CarShield. Even if your car is just over 3 years old, it's still prone to expensive costs. Your car is more than just getting you from point A to point B. Traveling by car is a way of life. From picking up your kids to going to a new restaurant, cars are a daily essential. When you enroll in a car protection plan through CarShield, you can look forward to the following. The price will never go up no matter how many claims you file, or no matter how high the mileage on your car increases. CarShield offers protection plans that start as low as $100 per month. That's $100 per month. They have repair coverage for up to 5,000 different parts of your vehicle. Plus, when your car breaks down and you're stuck on the side of the road, you get 24/7 coast-to-coast roadside assistance. You also get complimentary towing and rental car options. CarShield has my back when my car breaks down, and they can have yours too. Call CarShield today at 800-465-6550 or visit carshield.com. It's CarShield, proud sponsor of the Golf with Jay Delsing show. If you're in the market for a new or used vehicle, any make or model, then you need to visit the Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood. They are the official vehicle provider of the Golf with Jay Delsing show. My daughter and I both drive vehicles supplied by Colin and the Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood, and it's because we know we can trust them. They made the car buying experience painless and easy, and their customer service is second to none. Every single step of the car buying experience was taken care of for us. You can reach Colin at 314-966-0303 and he will answer all of your questions and put your mind at ease. The Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood has new or pre-owned vehicles to be purchased or leased, whichever you prefer. Once you visit the Dean Team Volkswagen on Manchester in Kirkwood, you'll be a customer for life because they will treat you like family. The Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood, the official vehicle provider of the Golf with Jay Delsing show.
Golf with Jay Delsing. We do it 2 hours every weekend. Glad that you're with us. That's Jay. I'm Dan. A reminder that next segment, he's standing outside our studio. It's Barret Jackman. He'll be with us, the former Blues defenseman, talking a little golf, talking a little hockey.
Would you like to run into that man?
No.
Run skates, put him on some skates and have him run into you? I don't think so. He is out. He is solid.
I feel bad that we're making him wait to come in studio.
Well, I mean, it is.
I'll let you tell him, hey, we're going to be a few minutes. I got to man the board here.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into Tiger Woods. And there were some interesting things with him. There's the Player Impact Program, and the PIP rankings came out. Ranks golfers based on 5 different categories: internet searches, earned media, TV sponsor exposure, general population awareness, and golf fan awareness. Tiger Woods was the top-ranked player. Scottie Scheffler was number 2. He was second. Tiger collects $10 million for finishing first.
How many events did he play, Danny?
Tiger only played in 5 official events in 2024. Now, the program has been in existence for 4 years. He's played in a combined 10 events over that time period. So, doing the quick math, he has averaged $4.5 million per start. $4.5 million per start. Not surprising, though, he still is the most popular guy, social media-wise, whatever, TV-wise, exposure. So it's no surprise to hear that.
It's unbelievable what happens when he tees it up. And Danny, I mean, I don't know what you think about that Player Impact Program. I mean, it's another way to give more money to the guys that have a lot of money already.
Sure.
But, man, I don't know.
I guess the PGA Tour, though, is saying, and I know you're probably not a big fan of it, but the PGA Tour is saying, with social media, let's get our guys more engaged, get them out in front, get the casual golf fan in. By the way, it was Tiger Woods, Scottie Scheffler, Rory, Xander Schauffele was 4th, Jordan Spieth was 5th. Morikawa was 6th, Shane Lowry 7th, Justin Thomas 8th, Tommy Fleetwood 9, and Wyndham Clark was 10. But going back to it, Jay, in one of the 5 categories, it talked about general population awareness. And I think that's probably, for me at least, that was the number one thing I looked at.
Yeah. And I mean, and what are you going to, I mean, who or how is anyone ever going to overtake Tiger?
They're not.
I mean, Denny, he's not even playing. And he's wearing these guys out. I mean, he's still winning. I mean, I mean, if you're Tiger Woods and they just said you won $10 million and it hit your bank account, do you even realize it?
No.
No.
And if I did, I'm donating it all kinds of different charities and just saying, look, this is something different. I was lucky enough to win this. I'm still popular, but I'm going to donate it. And maybe it does go into the Tiger Woods Foundation, or a good chunk of it, or it goes to something that he's passionate about. We don't know, but $4.5 million per start over the last 4 years, not bad at all.
No, that's some good math, man, especially when I think I didn't even make $4.5 million in my entire career.
That's incredible.
Oh, that makes me want to, I should have retired way earlier. Danny, so this brings up this subject with Tiger. He's 49 now. December 30th, he turned 49. What do you think? I mean, it's almost.
And you're talking champions.
I know. I so want him to play Champions Tour golf. When I watch him swing, though, Danny, it looks painful.
What do you see with that lower body more so than anything else?
Doing anything. And I think one of the things that he's done since he injured himself so much in that accident. The lower body, and I think I told you this, that some of my friends told me that if the doctor said, we're taking your leg, and he said, you're not taking my leg.
Yeah.
I don't care what you leave on there. You're not taking my leg. So a lot of folks would have had their leg amputated because of it, but he's gotten so big in the upper body, and I think that's because he's unable to use that lower body, Danny, and grip the ground and use the ground as leverage, which is what he used to do so well, and he just doesn't do that anymore.
Okay, he was also in the news this last week with the TGL, and that is Tomorrow Golf League, the Sim League, if you will, team format, and they actually outranked TV ratings-wise.
How about that?
The night that they played,
Yep.
They outranked, which was a Tuesday night.
Yes.
They outranked the NBA, and they outranked college basketball. That is huge for golf fans out there to see what they did.
Well, and I think it's interesting, D, because it's kind of novel. Not kind of, it's novel. And you also had Tiger and Rory as the commentators because they didn't play, so this is so new. Danny, I don't even know the name of the teams. I mean, I know there's
LA, New York,
from
Jupiter.
I know there's a Bay something. I know that. So, and I don't know exactly who's on what team, but I got to tell you what I think's going to come out of this thing, Danny, is you're going to get to see some of the players' personalities more. They're mic'd up. They're going to be giving each other a hard time. The needle will be sharp and will be everywhere. You know what I mean? And I think that'll be good. I think you'll be like, because, Danny, there's a lot of conversation while you're playing normal golf.
Yeah.
There's microphones everywhere, and the guys are extremely careful.
So the players said afterwards, they said, man, it was fast-moving. The pace of play was great. And I wanted to say, why don't you do that when you're on the course in a PGA Tour event?
Infuriating.
Yeah.
Infuriating. I mean, we're cutting jobs because they can't play faster. And then they go out there and turn around and go, look, come on, man. This is not that hard. And the funny thing is, most people will play better, Danny.
Absolutely.
Just make up your mind and get on with it. My dad used to say to me, 2 things are going to happen. It's going to go where you want it or where it's not, or if you're putting, it's going to go in.
So let's go.
Or you get to try it again. Exactly. Let's get up there and do something.
This past week, by the way, also big news here. Keegan Bradley announced that Kevin Kisner will be the vice captain for Team USA at the 2025 Ryder Cup. What'd you think of that pick?
Oh, I love it. I think here's a guy making some serious transitions. He says, Danny, that he's not going to stop playing, but I don't know how I don't know. He's now the lead analyst, sitting in the lead analyst chair for NBC Golf. So he's going to be sitting with Mike Tirico. He's going to be sitting with Dan Hicks. He's going to be sitting with those guys. How's he going to play?
I don't know. But I think it's going to be fascinating to watch him play this summer. If he plays well, does he remove himself from the captaincy? That's one of the big questions with Keegan Bradley, whether or not he stays captain or not. But he is putting himself in a position, though, with his vice captain picks, to say they're in good hands. They've been with me for the year.
Absolutely.
They understand the strategy that we're going to go with. He's obviously going to have a huge impact in that. So does it really matter? Yeah, it does matter that he's not going to be the captain, potentially. But, if he's good enough to play, man, you got a chance to play in the Ryder Cup. How do you turn that down?
Absolutely. You cancel Christmas. Everything happens if you do that. Danny, when we had Nathan Carnson, the current vice president of the PGA of America, he said there's already conversations going on with Keegan, his team, and family about his great play. I mean, He won the BMW championship at Castle Pines. I mean, what the hell, man? And if he had one more opportunity to play in the Ryder Cup at this age and this stage of his career, you got to be kidding me. There would be hardly anything in his life more special.
Okay, I want to go back to the Century for just a moment.
Yeah.
Colin Morikawa, off-season experimenting.
Yeah.
Sam Snead-esque addition to his pre-shot routine, which you talk about how important that is all the time. But he opens, hopefully I'm describing this well, Jay, but he opens his lead hip and drives his right knee to mimic his impact position.
Right.
Did you see that, and what did you think?
Well, the first thing I noticed, I'm like, what is he doing? And is he going to do this all the way through the bag? Obviously, he doesn't do it with his putter and his chipping because you don't use your body that way, but he did it on every full swing. And what are you going to argue with? I mean, look at the success he had. 32 under par. I mean, any other year, that win's going away. But Hideki just went off, so he winds up finishing second. It's really interesting, Danny, as a player, when you get down to impact and you hit that ball just right, there's a certain magic there. The feeling is just remarkable, and you just want to do it over and over and over again. So what he's trying to do is get his body a little more familiar with, I'm gonna move to right there. And the biggest thing is timing, right? Now, Colin hits it a long way, but he doesn't mash it like some of the other players. And so this is more about trying to be repetitive than trying to be super, super powerful. But it is efficient as well, Danny. So he's moving his body really well, and wow, what a way to start the year off, finishing 32 under par and not winning the golf tournament.
I've seen you so many times talk with players that we played with about the importance of a pre-shot routine. Yep. Don't change it up, but get into a rhythm. And you talk about rhythm in the game of golf, and that's what it's all about.
It is, Danny. It's just like, remember Michael Jordan at the free throw line? He had a pre-shot routine every single time, unless the one time he was jacking around when he shot one left-handed. But for the most part, and that's when
you when he closed his eyes
and knocked one in two, But for the most part, he's doing it. And the reason why, folks, is that you get in these pressure-packed situations, and you need to have something to go to make sure that your mind is occupied and you're not, focusing on the wrong stuff, like the outcome of whether this ball goes in or not. What you're doing is you're getting into the processes and knowing that if you take care of these processes and trust yourself and free it up, things are going to happen for you. And that's what a pre-shot routine does for you. And you don't have to be a professional golfer only to have one. Your daughter Avery has a pre-shot routine that we've worked on, and she's solid with it. She does it every single time. And so it's one of those things where you start getting used to it, Danny. And if you ever do something that kind of gets you out of it, it's almost like somebody poured a bucket of water on your head. It just feels so weird. Like one time, I somehow put an extra waggle, which is, wiggling the club and looking up, and all this. I had to back off and start over because it got me completely whacked out of my my rhythm. And here's what I want to tell folks. Check out Aubert's pre-shot routine. He's always moving. It is so athletic. His feet don't really stand still. His hips are moving a little, trying to just kind of get this thing rolling so that he's not trying to be so still and so careful. He wants to stay athletic, you can tell. And man, this kid's going to be good.
What is your pre-shot routine? What do you do?
So for me, I'm very simple. So folks, you make up your mind. I stand behind the ball. I see a shot and I commit to my what sort of shot I'm going to hit with what club. Maybe it's a 7-iron, maybe it's a draw. This one's going to go 170 yards. Okay, boom. So I make that decision, and then I walk into the ball, Danny, and I put my feet down. I set the club behind the ball. I look up. I get set one more time, look at the target one more time, and I'm off. It's gone.
How about your putting? Pre-putt routine.
My pre-putt routine is very similar, man. I make up my mind on what I believe the putt's going to do, and then it's similar. I put my putter down next to the ball, and I get myself comfortable, look up and make a practice stroke, watching where I want the ball to go, not thinking about what my putter's doing, watching where I want to roll the ball. Then I put my putter behind the ball, make sure I got it in there, and then off I go. And Danny, I do it because it's simple. It's also it's a committed thing. When I used to play on the PGA Tour, and you go around and you're like, I'm not sure if this is a cup and a half out of the hole or just a cup. And I would not commit so many times, and I'd hit really good putts that wouldn't go in. And it's like you don't know for sure what it's going to do. You could change your speed, and it could break a half a cup. So you got to commit to something.
Yeah.
That commitment is everything, especially if you're really, really good. If you're not really good. So, folks, one of the things that this is kind of cool, Danny, we talked about this before. For people that are really good, like your daughter Avery, she's really, really good player. Missouri Female Golfer of the Year. Unbelievable. High school female golfer of the year. We don't want Avery McLaughlin to try hard. We want Avery McLaughlin to get her mind into a spot that makes her relaxed and comfortable, because in that state, we know she's got a chance to play her best. Trying hard, if you're a bricklayer and you're trying to stand over a 10-foot putt, good luck, man. Try hard. You don't have a lot of talent. We got to get you in that hole. But for someone like Avery, we got to get her to just relax so she can trust herself and feel it. And the more relaxed, the softer your grip pressure is, those things, that pops.
That's Jay. I'm Dan. This is Golf with Jay Delsing coming to you from the Car Shield Studios. Up next in studio, we'll visit with Barret Jackman, the former Blue, and he'll be our guest.
Are you tired of watching your golf scores go up every year? Despite new equipment and even a couple lessons, you still fight that slice or your inability to get that ball up and down out of the bunker? Well, get ready to experience better golf with Elevate Golf. At Elevate Golf, we're changing the way golfers practice with our innovative and data-driven approach to learning and, most importantly, improving. We have an array of membership options where you can find the perfect fit for your golf, your lifestyle, and your budget. Whether you start in our full-service gym, the short game area that has real sand bunker, or one of our 7 TrackMan simulator bays, the team at Elevate Golf will do a complete assessment of you and your game, which is crucial because if you don't know where you're starting from, it's nearly impossible to attain a goal or a new level. Call us today at 636-265-0557 or visit us at elevategolf.com. That's ELV, the number 8, golf.com. Contact us today and get ready to play better golf. Recently, my nephew called me and said his basement had flooded and all the hardwood, carpet, and flooring had to be replaced. I told him I have the perfect place for you to go. At Jerseyville Flooring and Furniture, this second-generation family-owned business treats everyone just like their family. Jared Capps is continuing his mom and dad's 50-year business tradition where honesty, transparency, and service carry the day. My nephew loved the luxury vinyl product. Jerseyville Flooring and Furniture has the largest selection in the area. Whether you prefer Mohawk and the wide variety of their product lines, I love the Rev Wood product, by the way, or Karastan or Pergo Elements line, Jerseyville Flooring and Furniture will literally have you covered. You have pets? Let Jared tell you about the many sustainable flooring and carpet options that are pet-friendly but also easily maintained to keep your floors looking great every day. And don't forget about their huge selection of Lazy Boy recliners. They are awesome and one of the biggest selections in the Midwest. Call them today at 618-936-0536 and get your free estimate or set up a consultation with one of their experts. You can also go to jerseyvillecarpetandfurniture.net. Proud sponsor of Golf with Jay Delsing.
This is Chris Nagel. And you're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing.
I am proud to welcome the Gateway section of the PGA back to my show. Whether you're pulling into your favorite driving range, public golf course, or country club, there is an excellent chance that the staff there is part of the over 300 men and women PGA professionals at over 100 facilities that make up our Gateway section. I grew up watching so many of these fine men and women getting to the golf course at dawn, leaving at dusk, spending their entire day running events, giving lessons, and growing this great game. PGA Reach, Drive, Chip, and Putt, PGA Hope, and the fantastic PGA Junior League are a few of the examples of the programs run by these same PGA professionals. Go to gatewaypga.org to learn more, or to find your next PGA professional for your next lesson, go to pga.com. The Gateway PGA, growing the game we love.
Hi, this is Adam Betts from Family Golf and Learning Center. At FGLC here in Kirkwood, we feature a double-decker driving range, 2 large grass tees with Tahoma Bermuda grass. You want to work on your short game? We have a short game area too, which features a 20,000 square foot green, 3 bunkers, and Zoysia surrounds. Also at Family Golf and Learning Center, don't forget about our 9-hole par 3 course, the indoor TrackMan simulators, and our performance center. If you're looking for the best golf instruction, regardless of skill, we can help. Find out more at FamilyGolfOnline.com. That's FamilyGolfOnline.com. Family Golf and Learning Center. We make St. Louis better at golf.
I am delighted to welcome Folds of Honor to the Golf with Jay Delsing show. Lieutenant Colonel Dan Rooney and his team donate 91% of all funds directly to these scholarships. And oh, by the way, to date, 52,000 of these life-changing scholarships have been awarded since 2007. 45% of those 52,000 scholarships have been awarded to minority recipients. So join the Folds of Honor team today and donate at foldsofhonor.com.
This is Golf with Jay Delsing, and our guest is one of our favorites who calls St. Louis home. It's Barret Jackman, 17th overall pick in 1999. Won the Calder Trophy, and if you don't know what that is, that's the Rookie of the Year in the NHL back in 2003. 16 years in the Blues organization, and he's calling St. Louis home. And, hey, great to have you in studio, and thanks for coming in.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Jax, we were sitting talking off air. There's something about St. Louis that has you guys that have grown up from all over the North America, really, that come back here. What brings everybody back?
It's just, the people, the city, everything about it. If you're raising kids, you couldn't imagine a better place to be. The schools, the sports, just being able to do everything you want, and it's 20-minute drive from everything, and people are so tight with the schools that they went to. And my wife went to Parkway South, and she still hangs out with 20 to 40 of her friends every other weekend, and that's a pretty cool thing to be a part of. And St. Louis is it's the only place that I've lived for more than 10 years, and it just felt like home. And playing with the Blues organization and the sports fans, everybody is so respectful, so knowledgeable. But they, once they get past the sports part of it, they really do care about what you are as a person, and it's more about that than the sports.
Did you know anything about? So you get drafted, and you're like, St. Louis. Whoa, what are they doing back there?
I was lucky enough to come in on a fly-in interview, probably about a month before the draft. So, you get into the city and you kind of check it out a little bit, and obviously the team was so amazing when I was drafted in '99. You look at the defensemen with Al and Prongs, and the forward group too. Dimitra and Kachuk came shortly after that, and Turgeon and Scotty Young, Chaser and Twister. So it was just kind of a very intriguing place, to get drafted by. And obviously after, I've been in St. Louis for 23 years, and just the tradition and the people who have been through here, and the alumni that are in town, it's pretty special to be drafted by the Blues.
So this is a golf show, and we get to jump around with you. So we may talk golf, we may talk hockey, we may talk about your poor body, if it's okay.
Oh, boy.
But what keeps you busy these days? You got a couple of kids. I'm assuming you're running around and trying to stay up with them.
Yeah, I got a 15-year-old boy that he's playing AAA Blues and AAA baseball as well. I'm coaching both of those, so 51 weeks out of the year I'm coaching in some capacity. And then my daughter is 13, and she rides horses. So she does equestrian, she does jumping. So we're down at the barn every day with her as well, and taking care of her horse, and got 2 miniature ponies in my backyard. So, I've been considered and called by a few, the Kirkwood Cowboy and John Dutton of Kirkwood.
That's awesome. This is a golf show, as I mentioned. So does golf keep you busy at all? Do you play much golf?
I try to. I got we got a group, we call ourselves the Wolf Pack, that play probably once a week and at different places at Meadowbrook, Algonquin, and St. Albans. So I try to get out at least once a week, and some weeks it doesn't work out, but we're trying to chase that little white ball around the
it's a good excuse to drink and swear. You actually get your get a couple beers down, and you go, man, when I watch you guys as kids. Danny and I grew up very similarly. We were outside with a stick and a ball or a putt, but we didn't have access to skating. So we didn't really know what ice hockey was like. We just always had a puck. We filled it with a little cloth, and somebody wound up playing goal, and off we went. But when you sit there and think about a golf ball, man, and it's just sitting at you, and you're like, why can't I hit this thing? I've had so many people say, it looks so easy, and then you swing and you're like, it just doesn't ever go straight.
Yeah, I grew up not playing a lot of golf. I was playing baseball in the summer and hockey up in British Columbia. So, you go out there and I get the old baseball swing, and I'd be aiming way left over the trees to try and put something on the right side of the fairway. And so I didn't really get into it until probably after my first year pro. I was able to make a little bit of money and play and get into it, but I never took any lessons. It was kind of just go by myself and hit some balls, and thank God I'm an athlete and I could kind of figure it out a little bit.
Well, when I see hockey players play golf, I do see some semblance of a slap shot. And Jay, I know you played with a ton of hockey players, but when I see that, I'm like, this guy's a hockey player. I can just tell.
Yeah, I've got about a quarter of a backswing.
Okay.
And, I played hockey left and baseball right, and I golf right-handed, and everybody just kind of laughs like, how do you do that?
Right.
But yeah, it's all about the impact, and strong like bull. You go after the ball and
figure it out.
Hopefully, it goes straight.
Yeah,
Jax, I was playing on tour when we went up to Vancouver and played the first Greater Vancouver. I think it was a GVO, Greater Vancouver Open, at a course called Northview up near Richmond. I don't know if you know that area much, but the golf fans in British Columbia were crazy, and Arnold Palmer was still running around a little bit, and he had designed this golf course. So the first year, AP shows up for some of the pro-ams, and it was like Elvis had come in. I mean, we had 100,000 people out in British Columbia wanting to see Arnold Palmer.
And we see that with the Canadian Open, too. All these guys that come out and gals that love and support the game of golf in Canada.
Yeah, was it 2 years ago? I think it was it Willett that won up in Canada, and they had the around the tee boxes, they got the hockey boards, and they're singing "Oh Canada" and cheering like crazy. So that's pretty cool to see. And when the Canadians are playing in their own tournaments, it's almost like a Ryder Cup type of atmosphere.
Well, they're first of all, they're great people. I can remember I was telling Danny that I loved playing in Canada because they were so gracious. I mean, if you hit it in a sand trap in a bunker around the green, if you just got it out, they clapped them like, that shot wasn't very good, but you still felt good getting applause. But what's happening in Canada right now is that there are a bunch of really, really good young players that are making impacts, winning tournaments. Adam Hadwig and Mackenzie Hughes. There's just a bunch of players. And Brooks Henderson, I was trying to, when we were doing the TV for Fox, we did a Women's U.S. Open, and I was trying to explain to her, and I didn't do a very good job of. She looked at me like, "Why are you talking to me?" But I was trying to explain to her how many Canadians are they just really pull for her and watch her every week.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with the technology and a lot more indoor training facilities in Canada, and kids just really, there's so many coaches out there that are so good that are able to teach these kids, and everybody's. If you play a sport, you stay out of trouble, and so a lot of parents are pushing their kids to do something they love, and golf is one of those things that you could play your entire life, and it's probably the greatest sport that you could be a 30 handicap and compete against a scratch golfer, and it's still fun, and you could swear and drink beer too.
Barret Jackman is our guest, and I want to ask you about one of the next steps in your professional life, which is you're going to head up the Alumni Association of the St. Louis Blues, and our good buddy Bruce Affleck is going to step aside. He wants to travel, be with his grandkids, which is great. And I love BA. We all do here in studio. But what will that be like for you, number one? And number two, as a follow-up, why have so many guys stayed in St. Louis and called this home once their playing career is done?
Yeah, BA Bruce has done an amazing job. He's been with the Blues since, I think 70, and he has been so good at keeping the alumni involved in the community and just doing different things. He was a huge part of getting the alumni room at Centene when they built it, and there should be more videos of this room and just how amazing it is. We have our own locker room, lounge area, obviously a very big bar. So the alumni come out. So we have skates 3 times a week, and there's some guys that just come in and use the steamer and don't even step foot on the ice and have a couple of beers after. So Bruce has done an amazing job with that, and Bruce wants, like you said, he wants to travel, spend some more time with his grandkids, and I think Bruce is a huge part of why we have so many people here in Kelly Chase as well. They've been so good at just, it's a tough transition going from playing to retired life, and but just having that community, having close to 50 guys that are still in town. So I'm just going to be, one of those, guys that has to babysit and, plan a couple get-togethers and just really just keep that, tradition of our alumni and the sense of family within St. Louis.
So that's the follow-up, is why do guys stay in St. Louis? Why does this happen?
It's tough to retire. But when you have a group of guys that are in St. Louis and you just have a great community, and even as a retired player, as alumni, we're so embraced, and we try to give back as much as possible, and we're constantly trying to raise money to help different charities, whether it's the Police Foundation, Backstoppers, youth sports, some kids that are less fortunate, handing out scholarships to some of the kids that maybe just can't afford maybe the highest level, and they're real good athletes. So we just try and do as much as we can. A lot of it's kind of behind the scenes, but just that sense of community and the group of guys that we have. Everyone's just huge hearts that want to help.
Jax, it can't be easy. You talk about retiring because the game is so difficult and so physical that you retire at a young man's age. You still got a lot of life to live. But one of the things that impresses me so much about St. Louis and about the Blues in particular is that you can't go anywhere without seeing it, with having several of you guys show up, just to, shake some hands, and maybe you play golf, maybe you don't play golf, but whether it's at a charity golf thing, whether it's at a trivia night, you guys are all over the city, and that's what makes the Blues alumni special. I mean, it's one thing to have the guys get together and get skate and things like that, but it's another thing for you to go to Cardinal Glennon Hospital or some of the other stuff that, like you said, you do. Nobody knows you guys do that, but Danny and I know that stuff's going on almost every day.
Yeah, we get alumni that are anywhere from, in their early 80s to, 34, 35 years old. And, if you have kids, your kids go to different schools, different sports teams, whatever level it is. Everybody has this group of friends that are, end up being pretty big. And there's just so much charitable organizations that you can help out. So, once you're a hockey player, you help your friends, you help people around you, and obviously with different illnesses and just fundraising efforts. There's an alumni that is in every group in St. Louis, in every friend group that. It's hard to say no, and it's very easy to go out.
You don't say no. Yeah. You guys just don't say no.
Yeah, it's so easy to go out to events and have some fun and raise some money, and there's guys that are on different boards for charities and things like that. So, when Kelly Chase sends you a text that says call me, you're like, okay, well,
where am I going?
I got to get my calendar out because I'm doing something.
What did it mean for you? Barret Jackman is our guest. What did it mean for you to go into the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame and the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame?
It's just a huge honor. I was lucky to go in with Jay here, and it's something you never really think about when you're playing or when you're growing up. But when you get the phone call to say, "Hey, we want to recognize you into to a Hall of Fame," it's you kind of sit there and like, well, really, am I good enough to be part of this group? But just to be recognized, and my kids weren't that old when I played, so when they come and have to sit through a dinner and see some highlights and things like that, it's it kind of gives you a little validation of and maybe your kids will listen to you a little bit more when you said you
did
played.
That work for you? It didn't work.
No, definitely. I coached my son.
They still look at you like you're some dad's just a dumbass over there, doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, my son still questions if I tell him anything about hockey, and I'm unfortunately I'm his coach. So
And your son is a good player.
He is, yeah. He's pretty good at baseball and hockey, and it's a big year for him. 15s. You start getting looks from the Ontario Hockey League, Western Hockey League, and USHL. So their team's doing really well this year. They're number 9 in the country.
Wow.
A bunch of the sophomores are starting to get some interest from colleges. So it's pretty cool to be with a lot of these kids for the last 5-6 years, and getting recognized for their hard work.
Jax, one of the things that's happened here in St. Louis is that, I can't remember the year, but we are developing hockey players. And I mean, that really never happened when I'm the oldest in the room, like I am at every damn place I go to. But I don't remember, guys getting drafted from St. Louis. And a few years back, we had, I don't know how many first rounders. And I mean, and it's a tribute to you guys, the alums, Hank coming back to St. Louis and then coaching their children and making these teams and developing teams that St. Louis never had.
Yeah, and it kind of goes back to the alumni. You got Basil McRae as a coach, Jeff Brown, Al McInnes, Keith Kachuk. You got Larry Patey and Blake Dunlop and Mike Zook. There's so many guys that have coached, and now we have Andy McDonald is coaching the 18s at the AAA level. The Cavallinis have been in St. Louis and coached. And then Jamal Mayers, myself. Geez, I'm missing some guys.
And aren't the Cavallinis from BC? I think they're BC guys, aren't they? I don't know.
Yeah. I think you're right.
I think they are. Yeah.
So one of the things I wanted to ask you, and I loved it when I was covering the Blues, was watching your relationship with Bob Plager. Bob meant a lot to you, didn't he?
Yeah, Bob. He's an amazing person. Right from day one, I remember him at the draft in Boston. After the draft, the Saturday night, they had the executives, the coaches, and all that, and the scouts had a suite at the hotel, and went there, and I was talking to Joel Quinville and Mike Kitchen and Larry Plow, and I look over in the corner, and Bobby Plager's got his little Viagra pen. You push the button, and this thing kind of, the pen opened up, and I see my mom over there giggling, and I kind of looked over, and and Joel he goes, he might want to go and hang out with Bobby a little bit, and
that's awesome.
He was just telling stories or jokes that were true stories.
Absolutely.
But yeah, he's you see how much he was loved in St. Louis, and he was a guy that said no to nothing. He was at every event. If there was a signing, he would just go and hang out, even if he wasn't invited. And but he was just so good to have as a friend and as a mentor, and his impact was still felt in St. Louis today.
Another thing I wanted to hit with you, and Barret Jackman is our guest, was playing with Al McInnes. And obviously in 2003, that was beneficial to you when you won the Rookie of the Year. But what was it like with Al on the ice with you?
Well, to this day, Al still says that he won me the Calder Trophy. So he was up for the Norris that year and didn't win. So he tells me all the time that if he had a different partner, he would have won that year. But Al was amazing. It's such a larger than life presence. He just taught me how to work hard off the ice, your diet, your workouts, just how you approach the game, and how you just be a professional. And I was intimidated by him, and I just remember I made a mistake on the ice the one time, and I was getting back to the bench, and I thought I was going to get berated by Al. It was a bad turnover or whatever it was, and I sat down on the bench. I was just waiting for it, and he just kind of looked over. He goes, "Hey, was I in the wrong spot? Could I have been somewhere else? Could I have done something different?" And right then, I just kind of looked at him. I go, "No, Hal, that was my fault. Like I messed up." And from then on, it was never, he never thought he was better than me. He tried to teach me the whole time, and that was something that I kind of, tried to, take with me. It was, not everybody sees things the same way. So, if you could help your partner out and learn by talking, it's a huge thing.
Jax, it's a big deal to try to learn how to become a professional, because I can remember, you think you're pretty good. Heck, you went through a draft. It's got to be a thrill to get drafted, because it's this kind of culmination of your childhood dreams happening, and when I finally got my PGA Tour card, I'm standing on the driving range and looking down, and it's like, nobody gives a damn whether you were, an All-American in college, or, you got a U.S. Open winner hitting balls next to you, and it's kind of like, wow, this is an entirely different level of play. And to your point, you said diet. You just have to live a different life once you become a pro.
Yeah, and it's something I trying to tell the kids on my son's team. It's you think you're good now, just wait. If you put the effort in, you could be so much better, and you have to be if you want to keep moving on to the next level. You might be the best player in Missouri, but when you take the next step up, there's 500 of you that are, just as big, fast, strong. Like, what are you going to do to separate yourself from the next guy? And, coachability is one, your dedication, and just the way that you treat people around you, being a good teammate, being good to the training staff, all that stuff. Coaches see that. And so whatever level of talent you think you have, there's so many kids out there with the same level, and it's just how you're going to separate yourself.
Well, it's interesting, Jax, because when you have a team concept, you talk about being a good teammate. When you're a golfer, you're kind of on this island, and it's easy to get mad at yourself because so much goes wrong, but you learn fast that, hey man, I got to drop this off, because in another 30 seconds I'm hitting another shot, and if I compound that with another mistake, because we all make mistakes, this ship sailed, and we're going to try to play again next week. You learn fast.
Yeah, golf is it's what, 90% between your ears, and
a short game.
That's true. Yeah, good thing I could putt. But golf is just one of those things where if you have a short memory, you're much better. I've got my one friend Brant that he's got 75 different swing thoughts, and he changes it up every week, and it's fun to make fun of him, and we're all over him, and
you can actually see that, Jax, can't you? When you can almost actually see somebody thinking while they swing, and you're like, because your game is so much faster, but the idea is the same. If you make a mistake and you're not over it by the time your next shift comes, well, you're going to make another mistake.
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden, you'll be out of the league before you know it, because you just can't play. You can't play that way. It's like live in the moment. My dad used to tell me, long-term memory for the good, short-term memory for the bad. You hit a bad shot, off we go.
Yeah, sometimes you got to be a goldfish and with a short memory. But I think that's why in golf I play so fast. It's you put the tee in, put the ball on, you hit it, and you're picking up the tee and going to the cart before your ball lands.
That's what we do. I mean, people are like, "Why are you playing so fast?" We're like, we don't think over here, man. We got to swing and do this thing before any thoughts come in.
My final question as we wrap it up, and Barret Jackman is our guest. What are you most proud of as you reflect on your career? What stands out and you're most proud of for you?
Probably just playing as long as I did in one organization, and just being a good teammate and having so many close relationships from the sport, and kids and wife and the family life aside, just being in St. Louis and contributing for as long as I did was to be up on the list of all-time games played with Bernie Federico behind him, and Parayko's going to be creeping up here
pretty soon.
But, yeah, just kind of being in one spot for that long, meant that I was a good person and at least put something into the game as well.
This has been great. Thanks for coming in, man.
My pleasure. Anytime.
That's Barret Jackman. That's Jay Delsing. I'm Dan McLaughlin, and you're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing.
A professional golfer, as you watch on TV every Sunday afternoon, never ventures onto the course without his trusted caddy. This was true for me for my entire career. I want you to think of Powers Insurance as your insurance caddy that you never had. Just as my golf caddy helped me to assess risk on the golf course, Powers Insurance can do the same for you in your busy and complicated life. Tim Davis, COO at Powers Insurance, did exactly that for me and saved me over 50% on one of my coverages. A good insurance risk advisor can help you know when to take a chance or when it may be smarter to take a little more club. Give the folks at Powers Insurance a call and get a caddy for all of your insurance needs. Call them at 314-725-1414. That's 314-725-1414. That's Powers Insurance.
This is Barret Jackman of the Blues. You're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing.
Do you remember the golden rule? I'm sure you do, but just in case, it goes like this. Treat people the way that you'd like to be treated. At People's National Bank, that one statement is the cornerstone of what this bank is all about. Locally owned, with 23 locations in Southern Illinois and the metropolitan St. Louis area, People's National Bank parlays a robust menu of commercial or personal banking services you could possibly need with a friendly yet hardworking Midwestern attitude. Maybe you just want to do business with a bank whose entire team lives in the same neighborhoods as we do. If you're like me and doing business with someone you trust is important to you, then People's National Bank is the bank for you. Jason Rantham, local president, is here for you to call, and he'll answer any questions you may have. His personal cell is 314-974-2243. You can also find us online at peoplesnationalbank.com. People's National Bank is here for all of your banking needs.
This is Adam Betts from Family Golf and Learning Center located in Kirkwood. Our motto is play your best golf. We have the best instruction for every skill level. 2 female instructors along with our 8 PGA instructors. We're there for the kids and the adults who are starting to play and trying to refine their game. Family Golf and Learning Center features a double-decker driving range, grass tees, and a short game area, along with indoor simulators and a performance center. That's not all. Don't forget about our back 9 bar and grill. Find out how we can help you and your family. Head to familygolfonline.com. That's familygolfonline.com. It's Family Golf and Learning Center, where we make St. Louis better at golf.
Hey folks, we just opened the Jay Delsing Golf Shop. If you need anything golf related, you need a hoodie, you need a visor, you need a quarter zip. My daughter Gemma has spearheaded this effort, and I so appreciate all of her help. But we are live, and we are ready to get you into some golf gear. Folks, know this. With every single purchase, I will be donating either to the Western Golf Association in support of the Evans Scholarship Program or to Folds of Honor and the great Lieutenant Colonel Dan Rooney. So everything that you buy from me, we're going to make a donation to those great causes. Thanks for checking it out. It's jdelsinggolfshop.com.
For the best in Italian cuisine in St. Louis, look no further than Paul Manno's, located in Chesterfield. It's traditional Italian cooking, and their best ingredient, It's their tradition. It's cooking like Paul's grandmother used to make and like his mother still prepares today. There are no corners cut at Paul Mano's. From greeting you at the door to the pasta you'll share with your family, Paul Mano's is committed to bringing you their very best anytime you share a meal at their place. It's Paul Mano's, located in Chesterfield.
Hey, this is Jay Delsing for SSM Health Physical Therapy. Our golf program has the same screening techniques and technology as the pros on the PGA Tour use. SSM Health Physical Therapy has the Titleist Performance Institute-trained physical therapists that can perform the TPI screening on you, as well as use the K-Vest 3D motion capture system. Proper posture, alignment, etc. can help you keep your game right down the middle. We have 80 locations in the St. Louis area. Call 800-518-1626 or visit them on the web at ssmphysicaltherapy.com. Your therapy, our passion.
You're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing. Have a question for Jay? Log on to jdelsinggolf.com. Now let's head back to Jay and Dan.
Man, that was fun to have him in studio. That was Barret Jackman of the St. Louis Blues. And interesting, he's going to run the Alumni Association. Congratulations to Bruce Affleck, who's going to step aside and retire, spend more time with his family and the grandkids. BA is one of our favorites. That's Jay Delsing. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Golf with Jay Delsing, presented by Daugherty Business Solutions, as we come to you from the CarShield Studios. Fun to visit with Barret Jackman.
Danny, what a great guy. And he could not be replacing a better dude than Bruce Affleck. He was a player for the Blues. He's done almost every single thing. I think at one time, wasn't he president of the Blues as well?
I believe so.
Danny,
head of tickets, promotions.
He has just done everything, and he has been running the alumni, and we have the Alumni Association in the NHL. There is no question about it. I go down and play with some guys down in Florida where my brother lives. Ray Shepard played for the Red Wings, 40-goal scorer. He goes, "What are they doing there?" I said, "Man, I don't know, but they just get the greatest bunch of guys. They love the community. They love St. Louis. They love the fact that there's not a lot of hoopla. There's not a lot of traffic, but you still have, big-time sports, big-time theater, big-time, things to do. And a lot of these guys, he knows they grew up in the Western Plains or just such rural areas, Danny, that, this is the perfect size for them. It's not New York City, which they would hate, but it's it's got everything to offer, and the schools are usually good. I don't know, man, but we get more hockey players staying around. I guess we get quite a few baseball players too, don't we?
Yeah, there's a handful of those guys that stuck around, especially the teams from the 80s. I want to ask you, from the perspective of being a golfer that's been doing it all your life and playing with a lot of hockey players, do you find that they just smash it off the tee?
Oh, yeah. Oh, man, they smash it. The slap, when you consider that they do it for a living on ice, you're like, I thought golf was hard, but we sure as hell aren't on ice, It's just amazing. Their hand-eye is ridiculous. The difference is they just they haven't done it much, but their hand-eye, Bernie Federko, our dear friend, is a great player. Brett Hull is a great player. I know that the great one, Wayne Gretzky, spends a good portion of his time here, plays a really nice game of golf. And so, yeah, it seems to lend itself to that. A lot of the pitchers in baseball, Danny, play a lot of golf, but they don't necessarily swing that well.
They don't, but the slap shot, does it have any intricacies that are a little bit like hitting the golf ball in your opinion?
The lower body, you clear your lead side. Now, you're on ice, so you're moving a little bit, and then in golf, you want it to be your feet to be dug in as much as they can, but your hips do the same way. You take the club back in golf, and you take the stick back for a slap shot, and the first thing that starts down, Danny, is your lower body. So by the time the stick hits the puck or the ball hits the club, your hips are gone, man. Yeah. They are wide open, and that's how these guys, are able to hit it so far. And these guys use their skates, and they dig in these edges, Danny, and they're able to use the ice as, for power. And you and I are like, I think I'll just fall down now.
It's amazing. It's fun to watch.
It is.
There's a bunch of stuff I want to throw at you. And this last week, Sahith Theegala said he's afraid of his 7-iron, so he just said, I'm taking it out of the bag. Have you ever heard of a pro golfer say, I'm not going to hit a 7-iron?
I've never heard of any. I've heard guys not like certain clubs, but then, Danny, if they don't like a club, they'll break it. I've never heard of that superstition before. He said it's gotten into his head from the time that he was a little kid. And so now he's got 2 8-irons. He's got a strong 8 and an 8. And a regular 8-iron, and so I know what he did. He had the manufacturer make another 8-iron, make it a half an inch longer than his current 8-iron, so it's the length of a 7-iron, and then adjust the loft. But that's odd.
That's got to be a mental block, I guess.
Yeah, that's just, you play enough golf and you're just a little cuckoo.
So I think for the golf fan that's out there listening, and they may not know this, how many clubs are in your bag?
Yeah, you're allowed 14.
Some people don't know.
No, you're allowed 14. You can any sort of combination of 14. You can have 4 drivers if you want. You don't have to. You're not stuck to a certain number of irons, a certain number of woods. You can bring 2 putters. I've seen guys putt with 2 putters before, Danny. The long broomstick one for some shorties, and then the conventional length for some longer putts. It just shows you how crazy we all are. We're just trying to figure out a way to make this thing work and to get the ball in the hole somehow.
Will Zalatoris packed on nearly 20 pounds. It was amazing seeing him last weekend. He said so he could extend his career. He's dealt with lower back issues. You know about that. He said, these guys are smashing it on tour. I got to put everything into my swing, my torque, the pressure on my lower half, which then leads to issues with his lower back. But he looked like a different guy, man, 20 extra pounds.
Danny, I don't know if I've ever seen someone gain more weight and make it look so distinctive. I mean,
Bryson did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, but that was
so 5,000 calories.
He was eating like 8 steaks a day or something. You're right. Bryson looked like the Hulk.
He looked like a different guy.
But Will was a pencil before. I mean, didn't he say he had a 22-inch waist or something, Danny? I mean, what? I think I had that in 5th grade.
Do you agree with his premise that the lower half and then the back is going to take its toll because he's trying to hit it as far as he can? We always talk about that, and he mentioned that. Yep. But do you see the lower back having issues when you're trying to do something like that? I
do see that. And, we talk with Brad Henderson from SSM Health and Rehabilitation, great friend of us, the Short Cat, and he said, you look at the guys that have had back trouble and they're more built like I've just had my 2nd back surgery in December. Tiger Woods has had 5 or 6 back surgeries that we know of, and they're the slender build has a tendency to run into these more often. You look at Jack Nicklaus, who ran into a fair share of injuries, but nothing on his back, and so you look at guys like a Tom Watson, who was a little thicker in the trunk area as well. I'm not saying fat by any means, but when Tiger got on tour, Danny, I mean, he didn't weigh 150 pounds.
He was thin, long, lanky.
Yeah, just wispy, and it just makes you think. You're like, wow, man. There probably is something to that. I think he's right.
By the way, how's your back? How you doing?
Good. I mean, I can't do anything. They won't let me do anything. So I actually was able to get down on the ground this week and start doing some dead bugs and just stuff for my core. And then I got to walk on the treadmill. So, big, important stuff in the Delsing house. I'm on the floor doing exercise. I got my dog Cooper like, why are you down here? I'm like, dude, leave me alone.
Are you jonesing to go play? Do you get to that point with the weather like it is?
I kind of jonesing to get out of here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just to, like anywhere south.
I'm with you, man.
You know what I mean? It's like, this white stuff, it's pretty for about 10 minutes. And now I'm like, okay, I've had enough. Where's the sun? Get the sunscreen. Where's Whitey? Let's go chase it. Let's go hit it. Yeah, I can't play until the 3rd week of February, but I'm itching. I'd like to get to the sun.
Oh, I would too. So I know there's people that are curious about this because they follow your career, one of the best careers that ever came out of St. Louis, and that's a fact.
Oh, thank you.
It's a fact. So will you play in the Stiefel Classic? Is that something you're gunning for again this summer?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. If Stiefel will have me, I absolutely would love to play again. I'm so excited that Ron Kay and his team at Stiefel decided that we got to keep this tournament going. The Ascension folks started something really great. I think Ron's going to make it better. I think he is. He's got some great ideas. He's a lover of the game. More importantly, Danny, he's a lover of St. Louis, and he's a lover of the community. And look at all the things that he does for the community. I mean, it's hard to drive around this town and not see either a Steve office, some billboards, or run into somebody that either works for them or has had some dealings with them. They're charitable. They're a great community asset, and I'm excited to see his idea. I can remember when, our God bless our new governor, Mike Heel, was in town, and we were sitting there, 4 of us were sitting there talking. Ron Kay was there, and it was just, he's like, yeah, let's do this. Let's make it fun. Let's do something for junior golf, and let's make this thing fun. And I'm like, oh, music to our ears. That was a big relief, because there was a time, it came right down to the wire, Danny.
Sure did.
We were not sure if this thing was going to go, and they hired Spencer Head, who's with us on the Ascension team. Now Stiefel has hired him. Spencer, besides being a great human being, he knows this stuff.
And he cares about the tournament.
Absolutely cares about the tournament, cares about the community, cares about the experience. And so we're going to get this thing off and running any minute now.
All right, that's Jay. I'm Dan. You're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing.
Have you noticed how expensive it is to attend or send your child to college? It's nearly impossible not to be blown away at the current cost. And oh yeah, we both know it's only going to cost more next year. Well, get ready for a game-changing solution for you, your child, and your entire family. Have you heard of the Evans Scholarship Program? This is a 120-year-old program that's been sending qualifying young men and women to college absolutely free. That's right, for no cost to you. In 2024 alone, 1,130 men and women are receiving this scholarship across 24 of the finest universities in our country. To date, over 12,000 men and women have graduated using the Evans Scholarship, with the average GPA being 3.3, and the graduating rate for these scholars is an impressive 95.6%. To qualify, you must have a strong caddy record, outstanding grades, excellent character, and a verified financial need. To find out more, visit WGAESF.org.
This is Dan Politis, PGA Golf Professional, and you are listening to Golf with Jay Delsing and Danny Mack. I listen every week.
Are you and your company struggling trying to keep up with all of your city, county, and tax state filings, Secretary of State, Department of Revenue, and FCC tax responsibilities? Well, help is on the way. Compliance Solutions is here to relieve your pain. They can prepare, file, and pay each and every one of these for you. As the industry leader, Compliance Solutions will customize a plan just for you and have you covered from start to finish. Founder and CEO Mark Lambert believes it's far more important for you to be spending time with your customers and growing your business instead of being inundated with the never-ending regulatory nightmares. Wes Johnson is the Executive Vice President, and his personal cell is 214-226-7813. Call today and be prepared to get some good old-fashioned customer service. Compliance Solutions will get you out of the weeds and back into the middle of the fairway. That number again is 214-226-7813.
Hi, this is Adam Betts from Family Golf and Learning Center. You're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing.
Have the warranties on your car expired? If so, it's just a matter of time before that vehicle is in the shop costing you thousands of dollars. And did you know that auto repair costs are up 20% this year? That's 4 times the rate of inflation. If an unexpected breakdown happened today, would you be ready for that? Well, now you can be with a plan through CarShield. Even if your car is only 3 years old, it's still prone to these expensive costs. When you enroll in a car protection plan from CarShield, you can look forward to the following. The price will never go up no matter how many claims you file or no matter how high the mileage on your car increases. CarShield offers plans that start as low as $100. Their protection plans cover over 5,000 parts for your vehicle, and you also get 24/7 roadside vehicle assistance. To find out more, visit carshield.com.
Golf with Jay Delsing rolls on. It's hour number 2 as we somewhat head down the stretch, but this is a fun, you know what? This is a fun thing that I wanted to get into with you. So we talked about the new Srixon 2-star golf ball in our first segment. Now there's new drivers that were being used last weekend. They're being used this weekend. The Callaway Elite driver. The pros get the first look at the new equipment, don't they?
Yeah, they do. And Danny, let me ask you a question. Who's the guy or the gal of the team that makes the name for these things? You know, because
no
it was
idea.
The AI smoke.
Yeah.
And what was the Big Bertha, the greatest Big Bertha,
there was the ERC2.
Yeah, the ERC2. There was the Steelhead.
Yeah.
There was all of this stuff. One of the fun things about the off season, and there really isn't much off season, but when you think about the time between the Tour Championship and whenever the hell the wraparound begins and ends and all that other stuff, the manufacturers will send you stuff, and they'll send you, like, Danny, the coolest thing I ever got was from Nike, and they sent me 5 dozen golf balls in straight white boxes. They had nothing but a swoosh on them, no numbers, no nothing. And then, no, that's not true. They had a number on them, no swoosh on them. And it was like number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. All the does. So they said, how did you like ball number 1? How did you like ball number 2? And it was super cool because you pull them out of this plain white box, and people are like, what is that? I'm like, it's a secret. I can't tell you. So that stuff is neat. The other thing that was super cool about playing the tour was that you could say to Callaway or your sponsor, whomever you were representing, you could say, hey, can you send me some drivers? And they'll send you 4 or 5 drivers.
You were one of the last, though. I find this great. You were one of the last guys to use the persimmon wood driver.
I know. I'm a fossil. I'm a dinosaur. I don't know. I had my wooden driver. I did all the wrong things if you talk to Scott Fawcett, but I cut my driver down because I was so long. I wanted to be straighter. I wanted it to feel more like a 3-wood. I was trying to figure out how to figure out how to hit it in the fairway, and everybody's just banging it all over the place. But once I I'm like, dude, you have got to pull your head out of it, and you're going to have to embrace technology. And so, Danny, once I did, when a new thing came out, I tried everything. And some of these new, the technology was way out there for back then.
How does a pro figure out the golf ball? You have a sense of what you want with a golf ball. And,
absolutely.
If you handed it to me, I'd say, well, it's round, it's white, and I'm going to hit it. But you have a sense. You can feel it off the club, can't you?
You can. And the biggest thing for us is, well, the ball's got to be able to fly through the wind. It's got to be able to be hit. When you strike a shot the right way, it's got to be able to react the way you want it to. And what I mean by that is, Danny, if you have the wrong ball and you play the wrong ball, your ball can go really, really high sometimes. Or it can get out there and fall out of the sky because it doesn't have enough spin on it. So you're always working on that. But the biggest thing for us is, what does it feel like around the greens, and then as you move out to that 30, 40, and 50-yard area, because that's where it's all touch and feel. It's really super hard to know how far to hit a 44-yard shot. So you're using touch and feel. You're not measuring their backswing and things like that. And so it is extremely difficult. And you want that ball feeling a certain way coming off on the club, Danny, and then you want that feel to match how that golf ball reacts when it hits the green. And so would it take one bounce and stop? Does it spin back a little bit? You just want it to react so that you feel like you've got it, you've controlled, and you can control it.
Did you mess with the Nike ball at all?
I did.
Did you like it or not?
I didn't mind it. The initial versions of the Nike ball I didn't think were that good. But Danny, you got to remember, we were talking about when it first came out. And once Tiger started playing it, we all knew they'd make a great ball.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. If he's going to play it, then
Rory played it. You think about the other guys that wound up playing it.
They were paid enough to go
Jason
play it
Day
too.
Played, right. But Danny, none of those guys would play it if it wasn't good. They'd say, nope, I'm not playing it until it's got to be as good as XYZ ball that I'm playing now. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it because none of that, they want to make as much money as they can off the course. Don't get me wrong. But the lion's share, the fame, the records, the legacy, it all comes from winning championships.
You know, we've talked a lot about the reduction in spots on the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
What you don't think about is the trickle-down effect that has on the Korn Ferry Tour. They took away 10 cards, and so you had several players who earned guaranteed Korn Ferry starts, and they found themselves, Jay, on alternate lists, and that's not what you want because, as you say, there's a Hall of Famer playing on the Korn Ferry Tour right now. There is a Hall of Famer there, and they need chances to play.
They do, Danny. That's where, Danny, there's so many damn compelling stories out there. I mean, one of the things that just chaps my butt is Wyndham Clark, saying, yeah, I think we should do this. And 3 years ago, dude, we never heard of you then because you were well over 100th in the world. And then come on, man.
It's got to happen.
It's got to happen. I
think they're going to, I do think if they speed up play, like you said, you'll see more players in the fields.
Yep.
But they've got to mandate it, and they've got to punish players, for lack of a better term, for playing slow.
No, it's exactly right, Danny. You've got to mandate the rule, and then you've got to stick with it. Here's what's interesting. You and I both rolled our eyes with the shot clock in Major League Baseball. We thought, what in the heck are we doing? It was wonderful.
Yep.
It absolutely shaved minutes off of the game, Danny. And that's what they've got to do at the PGA Tour. And they've got to hold these guys accountable and say, hey, look, I understand you want to do this when you putt. You're going to stick your fingers in the air and you're going to look at your feet and you're going to rub your lucky rabbit's foot and whatever else you're going to do. But if you don't do it in the right amount of time, you're penalized.
And it can't be by money.
No.
It needs to be by strokes.
100%. 100. Plus, those strokes are worth gold.
I was going to say, they're worth a lot of money,
with
too.
all that they're playing for. So, Danny, that's where you hit them. That's what will get their attention. And I'm sorry. This is our business model. This is not you and I going, oh, we just like fast golf. This is our business model. We need to see more shots on TV, Danny. We need to see more golf. We need to see less guys standing over the ball and more guys hitting the damn thing.
College golf is about ready to tee off, and you and I are big fans of PGA Tour University.
Absolutely. What a great. So folks, what PGA Tour University is, and our great friend, Justin Barget, who's a friend of the show, and our dear friend Johnny Barget's oldest son, he now works for the PGA Tour and runs PGA Tour University. And frankly, the PGA Tour in Jacksonville couldn't have a better guy. He was an assistant coach for Mike Small over at the University of Illinois, and now he's running PGA Tour University. And Danny, there's a point system that they have for all of the college players. And the leading point getter gets one full year exemption on the PGA Tour. Do you know what that's worth?
Oh, I mean, hundreds of thousands of dollars, obviously.
And Danny, you look at Ludwig Gobert, what he did and took advantage of it. I mean, he's a top 10 player in the world, obviously worthy of this spot. Finishes second in his first major championship, which was the 2024 Masters tournament. And so it's just a great thing for college golfers because certain talents don't necessarily need to go to qualifying school. And then, Danny, if you finish between 2 and 10th, you get varying degrees of Korn Ferry status, which is also, it could be worth your entire career. You go out and win a tournament over there or God willing, more than that, and you're going to give your PGA Tour card the next year.
It's amazing how many good players are playing college right now. Wake Forest, Texas Tech, Texas, even Baylor. I know I'm missing schools, but down in Florida.
Everywhere.
It's amazing, Jay, how good these young players are, and they're ready to make the jump without question to the PGA Tour.
Danny, 100%. And here's the difference between my generation when I was going to college and what's happening now. Back when I was going to college, there were only a handful of golf schools. You had Wake Forest, you had University of Houston, you had Oklahoma State, you had UCLA. You had a handful. Now University of Oregon's won the national championship. University of Alabama's won the national championship. Augusta State won the national championship. It doesn't matter. You can be up in Michigan. These guys have these unbelievably cool
$1 million facilities.
Indoor facilities. Heck, a good friend of mine, Ed and Donnie Wadsworth, they donated millions of dollars and built the University of Missouri complex down at Columbia, Missouri. So we got to get them on the show. They're lovers of the game and great human beings. But Danny, they put up, I think, $30 million for this new indoor facility at Mizzou. And you watch, Mizzou's going to be a golf powerhouse.
That's Jay. I'm Dan. This is Golf with Jay Delsing. We're presented by Daugherty Business Solutions, coming to you from the Car Shield Studios, and some tips are coming up next.
I'm delighted to welcome Folds of Honor to the Golf with Jay Delsing show. Lieutenant Colonel Dan Rooney and his team donate 91% of all funds directly to these scholarships. And oh, by the way, to date, 52,000 of these life-changing scholarships have been awarded since 2007. 45% of those 52,000 scholarships have been awarded to minority recipients. So join the Folds of Honor team today and donate at foldsofhonor.com.
You're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing. Brought to you by Car Shield and Daugherty Business Solutions. Every Sunday morning from 8 to 10. It features top guests, tips from a PGA Tour player, and the latest news and notes from around the world of golf. This is Golf with Jay Delsing.
You've heard me talking about the APT this year, but I want to help break down what this tour is all about. Firstly, it's the Amateurs Players Tour. I was lucky and privileged to have played golf on the PGA Tour, golf's highest level. So I know what it's like to have a real strong and fair competition. For amateur golf, this is absolutely the closest thing to PGA Tour style golf in terms of fairness of handicaps and the competition. Secondly, APT is the largest amateur tour in the country. In just over 6 years, Matt Minder and his team have over 7,000 members with over 44 local chapters spread across the country. The Amateur Players Tour runs over 800 tournaments a year. 800! That number alone tells you that they are doing something right. They play some premium golf courses around the country like Paynes Valley, Kiowa Island Ocean Course, and Torrey Pines South, and many more. Go to amateurplayerstour.com and find out for yourself. That's amateurplayerstour.com.
Hi, I'm Adam Betts, PGA professional and owner at Family Golf and Learning Center. We welcome golfers of all ages and abilities, from the junior golfer to the experienced players. From our indoor TrackMan simulators, large short game area, grass tees, and driving range bays, to our golf instruction, leagues, clinics, and camps, we connect you with every resource to reach your golfing goals. We look forward to helping you improve your golf game at Family Golf and Learning Center, where we make St. Louis better at golf. Visit us at familygolfonline.com. That's familygolfonline.com.
Daugherty Business Solutions has been enhancing the business of our customers for the last 37 years. How do we do it? Through our expertise in technology, better use of data and analytics, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. We roll up our sleeves and collaborate. We build applications and effectively communicate with our partner clients to bring their goals and objectives to the finish line. Our award-winning Access Point program is a community game changer. With nearly 100 students in the program, mostly young African-American females are making between $55,000 and $60,000 per year right out of high school. That's right, $55,000 to $60,000 a year right after high school graduation. That's when they begin their training. CEO Ron Daugherty believes the talent is equally distributed, but access to that opportunity is not. So here's Access Point, providing more and more opportunity for those in and around our community. It's Daugherty Business Solutions. Are you and your company struggling trying to keep up with all of your city, county, and tax state filings, Secretary of State, Department of Revenue, and FCC tax responsibilities? Well, help is on the way. Compliance Solutions is here to relieve your pain. They can prepare, file, and pay each and every one of these for you. As the industry leader, Compliance Solutions will customize a plan just for you and have you covered from start to finish. Founder and CEO Mark Lambert believes it's far more important for you to be spending time with your customers and growing your business instead of being inundated with the never-ending regulatory nightmares. Wes Johnson is the Executive Vice President, and his personal cell is 214-226-7813. Call today and be prepared to get some good old-fashioned customer service. Compliance Solutions will get you out of the weeds and back into the middle of the fairway. That number again is 214-226-7813.
We are heading down the stretch on Golf with Jay Delsing. With Jay, I'm Dan. Our final segment, again, we do this every single Sunday, 8 to 10. It's always fun to do it. Golf with Jay Delsing, presented by Daugherty Business Solutions and coming to you from the CarShield Studios. Now, we do have some emails coming in. This is Alan in St. Louis. How do you fix the big miss with your game? And maybe, Jay, you can define what the big miss is.
Okay, so, Danny, this is cool. And this is not a simple question, but Alan, thanks for reaching out to me. Alan reaches out a lot. So, guys, we have to break down your game and try to figure out where do we put some focus, okay? Where does your game need the most attention? We've got to figure that out. And you're like, well, Delsing, what does that mean? How do we? Well, here's what it means. What is hanging you up? Where are you running up your score? What part of the game is holding you back from being the handicap that you're looking to be at? So let's say, Danny, you wind up hitting 8 greens a day, and of the 8, you're making 8 double bogeys. The 8 that you miss, or the 10 that you miss, you make 10 double bogeys. Or so, obviously, then we got to work on your short game, because you can't miss a green and keep making double bogeys. You got to be able to slap a par in there somewhere every now and again, and so you've got to break it down. So because there are other things, you could be having trouble off the tee. Let's say you hit 14 drivers a day, and 3 of them you put out of play, which means it's costing you a penalty shot. Danny, you cannot make one swing cost you more than 1 stroke. Meaning, I hit my driver, I hit it in the lake, now I got to go up there, and I'm laying 3.
Yeah.
You can't. You can't do that. You've got to try to figure it out.
So are you breaking down, and were you breaking down your big misses, meaning that you would almost analytically go back shot by shot with every round that you played?
Danny, for about a 12, 13-year period, I did that every single round. How many drives did I miss left? How many drives did I miss right? How many greens did I miss short? How many did I miss left? What iron did I miss it left with? And I ran into a string of things, Danny. I didn't realize this, but the majority of my short irons, if I missed a green with my short iron, I only missed left. I always pulled it. I never, ever, ever hardly missed a green with an 8, 9, or any of my wedges to the right. I pulled them all. Interesting. And so what happens is, with all the data, the answer's in the data. And let's say you go out and you say, this is where it gets tricky, D. Let's say you go out and we're going to break your round down. And you say to me, okay, I shot 85 and I want to break 80. Like, okay, cool. 5 strokes is what we're looking at. But let's go through your round. How many fairways did you hit? And you say, I hit 5 fairways. I hit and we get through it all, and you say, holy smokes, man, I just counted up my putts, and I had 40 putts.
Right.
That means I had 6 3-putts, or I had whatever it is. And the first thing that I would ask you I would say, how many putts did you miss today inside of 5 feet? 5 feet. Probably should say 4 feet. But okay, let's just say how many. And you're going to go, oh, let me see. 1. And I'm going to go, okay. So something here is going to tell us. So then I'm going to say to you, how many times today were you putting, was your first putt on the green inside of 30 feet from the hole? And you're going to go, oh my gosh, this is tedious. How do I figure this out? And you go, oh my gosh. Only one time all day did I putt for my first putt on the green inside of 30 feet. That means your irons and your wedges are awful.
Yeah.
It means you're putting all the stress on your on your putting, and which is fine, but there's answers in that. So your putting number is high, but sometimes it's because you're putting all day from 50 feet.
So you're telling me, go back, think about your round, maybe make notes on your scorecard
and break it down. Break it down. But you got to start. The easiest way, D, is to start from the hole and move out. You know, how many 3-footers did I miss? How many putts did I miss inside of 5 feet? How many putts did and how many putts did I have from 30 feet or more? Because what happens is it's just terribly unsexy and not fun. But you got to practice your long putting. You just have to. If you're an amateur player, you have to practice your long putting because you have it all day. You just do. You have it all day. And then the next thing you got to do is practice your short putting, because if you're putting from 40 feet, you're going to be having a lot of 6 feet on in. If you're, it's not easy to get that speed right from 40 and 50 feet, uphill, downhill, side hill, depending on what your greens are like. So that's the way you need to take a deeper dive into to figure it out. Listen, Danny, folks, we can always putt better. You're going to ask me, I've been a great putter my whole life. I still don't make enough putts. I want to make more,
though, Jay.
I want to make more, Danny. I want to make more. I love when people say to me, gosh, you make everything. I'm like, then they think that's like irritate me. I'm like, thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to make them all. And so you can always make more putts. And it's like a business formula, Danny. I learned this when I was trying to figure out how to play in the PGA Tour. The more I got the ball inside a 3-foot circle, for me, Danny, I was 99.4% for a year's worth of 3-foot putts. That means I probably had, 500 3-foot putts in a year, and I probably missed 10.
That's amazing.
For the whole year. You
Yep.
just don't miss that many 3-footers when you're a good putter.
Well, Rory did it at the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
We don't need to talk about that.
And that was the one wasn't even 3 feet, but
that's
my gosh, that's a heartbreaker. But so you start thinking about that and you're like, okay, the answers will come. And you're going to get a feel. And sometimes, Danny, it's not where you think it is. Like people are like, I suck because I don't hit it far enough. But then you look at them and they have 7 3-putts every day. I'm like, that's okay. I understand if you don't quite hit it long off the tee, you might be hitting a longer iron in, but you're not hitting those greens anyway. That goes right back to your short game, man. So you've got to understand, if you're pulling out your driver, here's the other thing, D. How many penalty shots do I have each day? We've got to find and identify the big miss. So what? Oh, it's my driver. I pull out my driver and I'm petrified of it. And I hit it out of bounds 3 times around. Well, there's a place to start. We got to figure it out. We've got to figure out we're either got a bad driver, you're a bad driver, and we got to get better, which means we got to figure out what am I doing wrong? Is the ball in the wrong place? Is my swing, am I not hitting up on the ball? Is it, there's some basic fundamentals. You go talk to your PGA Pro, or you send us an email, jay@jdelsinggolf.com. We'll help you break it down. That's how you break it down. We've got to ask some questions, and in those questions will give us the answers.
Okay, we only have about a minute, maybe 90 seconds
left. You trying to tell me to quit rambling so much?
No, I love it. So this is Benjamin who writes in. Benjamin's a first-time, I guess, writer in.
Okay.
Is that what you say?
I like it. Yeah.
First time to jay@jdelsinggolf.com, and wants to know about address. How far do you, and I guess this might be subjective, Jay, and it might be tough to explain over the radio, but how far you stand close to the ball?
Yep. So that's an interesting question, and the answer is it's going to change for everybody depending on your build. So, Danny, I'm 6'5", but I have a 37-inch inseam. I have extremely long legs. How long your arms are make a big difference. And so what you want to do is you want to stand up, and let's just say we'll do a driver and an iron. Okay, I'll have to speed this up. We're doing our driver, so the ball's off our left heel, okay? And when we put our hands down, we want our hands hanging just slightly beyond our shoulder line if you drew a line down from our shoulders, okay? And that's pretty much universal. Sometimes you'll see people with their hands really, really close to the body, D. That's too close. There's not enough room to get everything through there. And sometimes you'll see them with so much space under their arms, you're like, oh my gosh, you're reaching too much for the ball. So you're going to have a bend in your knees, and you're going to slightly bend over from the waist and let your arms hang down and grab the club from there. And then you do the same thing with the iron, except you got to do it with a middle iron, do it with a 6 or 7 iron, Benjamin, and let's see, get that ball in the middle of your stance and then figure it out. And then folks, you got to remember this. If you picked up a set of clubs off a rack, if someone gave them to you and they're not fitted for you, even though they're not a new set, go to your pro and make sure that your irons are fitted correctly for you. It'll be an extremely inexpensive fix, but you bend the lofts, the lies of those irons so that they fit how tall you are and how far away from the ball you are. It makes a world of difference, Danny.
Well, it's truly, though, subjective, isn't it?
It really is, because look, D, you get a guy that looked like Gary Player. You get a guy that looked like Tom Watson, who was real upright. Gary Player was way around. And then you got a guy like Lee Trevino, who stood a long way away from the ball. And then you got John Daly. And he doesn't even know where he stands from the ball.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it really is subjective, and it's not one size fits all. So you see your buddy doing it? Just get those hands so they hang just slightly outside of your shoulder line, and let them hang, and then just put the clubs in there and the club in your hand, and then relax if you can. Soft grip pressure. If a 10 is white knuckling it and a 1, the club flies out of your hands, we want to get you about a 3 or a 4.
Interesting.
Yeah,
good
absolutely.
Stuff. Good
absolutely.
stuff.
Benjamin, good question, man.
Our thanks to Barret Jackman for stopping on by in studio as a part of Golf with Jay Delsing. Again, we do this every weekend, 8 to 10. Jay, great job. Always love being with you. And how do we end the show?
Love you too, Danny. It's fun to be with you. Hit him straight, St. Louis. Do you remember the golden rule? I'm sure you do, but just in case, it goes like this. Treat people the way that you'd like to be treated. At People's National Bank, that one statement is the cornerstone of what this bank is all about. Locally owned, with 23 locations in Southern Illinois and the metropolitan St. Louis area, People's National Bank parlays a robust menu of commercial or personal banking services you could possibly need with a friendly yet hardworking Midwestern attitude. Maybe you just want to do business with a bank whose entire team lives in the same neighborhoods as we do. If you're like me and doing business with someone you trust is important to you, then People's National Bank is the bank for you. Jason Rantham, local president, is here for you to call, and he'll answer any questions you may have. His personal cell is 314-974-2243. You can also find us online at peoplesnationalbank.com. People's National Bank is here for all of your banking needs.
Family Golf and Learning Center. No matter your age or skill level, Family Golf and Learning Center, located in Kirkwood, has something for you. They've got it all. PGA and LPGA instruction, double-decker driving range, par 3 golf course, TrackMan simulators, a large short game green design to help you with all your shots around the green, bunkers, rough, and Zoysia fairway pitching. And now open, the Tahoma Bermuda Grass Tees, the best turf to hit from in St. Louis. It's all at Family Golf and Learning Center. To schedule a lesson or to find out more, visit FamilyGolfOnline.com. That's FamilyGolfOnline.com. Family Golf and Learning Center. We make St. Louis better at golf.
Are you driving an out-of-warranty car? It's only a matter of time before your out-of-warranty vehicle is in the shop costing you thousands of dollars. Auto repair costs are up nearly 20% from last year, which is 4 times the rate of inflation. If an unexpected breakdown happened today, would you be ready for that? Well, now you can be with a plan through CarShield. Even if your car is just over 3 years old, it's still prone to expensive costs. Your car is more than just getting you from point A to point B. Traveling by car is a way of life. From picking up your kids to going to a new restaurant, cars are a daily essential. When you enroll in a car protection plan through CarShield, you can look forward to the following. The price will never go up no matter how many claims you file, or no matter how high the mileage on your car increases. CarShield offers protection plans that start as low as $100 per month. That's $100 per month. They have repair coverage for up to 5,000 different parts of your vehicle. Plus, when your car breaks down and you're stuck on the side of the road, you get 24/7 coast-to-coast roadside assistance. You also get complimentary towing and rental car options. CarShield has my back when my car breaks down, and they can have yours too. Call CarShield today at 800-465-6550 or visit carshield.com. It's CarShield, proud sponsor of the Golf with Jay Delsing show. I am delighted to welcome Folds of Honor to the Golf with Jay Delsing show. Lieutenant Colonel Dan Rooney and his team donate 91% of all funds directly to these scholarships. And oh, by the way, to date, 52,000 of these life-changing scholarships have been awarded since 2007. 45% of those 52,000 scholarships have been awarded to minority recipients. So join the Folds of Honor team today and donate at foldsofhonor.com.